You're listening to That Home Loan Hub. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to make home loans and property investing simple, smart and stress-free. Let's get you closer to your property dreams. Hello and welcome back to the episode of Kunch Cares. Hey Kunch!
Hello, kia ora.
So, we've been so busy with you the last few weeks. We've been talking about what happens when people buy a house. We've been diving deep into every single step of the way. So far, our clients came to talk to us. They've got their pre-approval. They've got their conditional offer because they've got a house. Now, in the last episode, they've gone unconditional. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens then?
So the next step is to prepare for settlement. So there's a couple of steps in between that. So one is meeting with your advisor again to discuss your loan structure, discuss the interest rates and things like that, and also look at some protection in place. You've just committed to this big asset that you've just brought, comes with this loan that you've just been approved of. So what happens if something was to happen to you? What protection have you got in place and things like that, which is a conversation that your advisor will have with you to just understand it and ensure that if something did happen to you while you're owning your house and you continue to, and for you to still be able to continue to live in that property, what sort of protection you've got in place.
Yeah, exactly. So when we talk about loan structure, what we mean is, you borrowed $500,000. How do you want to pay it? This is how we structure it. Mm-hmm. So in New Zealand, it's the availability to fix your loan between 6 months to 5 years is a maximum. Mm-hmm. Certain banks came out at one point and at 10 years and that didn't work out well.
I saw 7 years at one stage as well. Yeah.
And other countries, and I often get asked because I do deal a lot with, Russian-speaking clients. Yep. And it's very common in Russia and even my country, I'm from Tajikistan, for those that don't know, to fix your loan for 30 years.
Yeah.
And even in America, I believe we've had a few American clients in the past.
Yes.
And they talk about, what? You only need to fix for 6 months, 1 year? How does it work?
How good if you had, 299 for 30 years?
How amazing would that be?
Yeah.
But what happens in there is actually they take the interest over the 30 years and they'll lump onto your loan. So you end up paying double. You buy yourself a house and the bank buys a house. Mm. But in New Zealand, we have amazing opportunity to pay down your loans faster by using different techniques. Yes. And again, we'll talk about in another episode of how to pay your loans faster. Yes. And we'll demystify certain things so you don't have to pay thousands of dollars on courses that people will teach you how to repay your mortgage sooner. We actually teach our clients for free. Those things. Mm. So between going unconditional to settlement, we'll talk about the loan structure. We'll structure your loan according to your needs. Mm. So don't tell me that Uncle Bob told you that you need to do X, Y, Z. For those that have been following me for years, they know I always talk about Uncle Bob at the barbecues. He's the one that gives out the best advice, but may not be the relevant advice to you, the personalized advice. So this is what we do. Because some people might have a baby coming soon, right? And they don't want to think about refixing the loan in 6 months' time. They may want to know exactly what they're paying until that kid goes to school. Yeah. So they may want to fix for 5 years and not worry about it. Some people may be changing jobs soon and they know they'll get a pay rise. So in order to increase their repayments, they may want to only fix for 1 year and then increase. Some people may get a bonus in 6 months' time. So they may want to only fix for 6 months and repay a lump sum onto their loan without any penalties. Yeah. So there's a lot of different situations here. And this is what we sit down, we talk about your goals, your future, and what's coming.
Mm. Yeah. Pre-plan for it.
Mm. Yeah. So then we talk about what the rates are, 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Rates. Mm-hmm. And we break your loan down into those parts. There is also offset facilities and floating facilities that we can talk to you about as well. Yep. So there's a lot to take in, usually in those structure meetings. And that's why normally we'll have them in between, before going unconditional, after going unconditional, but not in the first meetings. Yes. Not when we're doing pre-approval.
Yeah, there's just way too many things to cover off in the first meeting that the structure meeting comes at the end. Also, But in that space, you always think about, do you want to pay your loan weekly, fortnightly, monthly as well? Usually it's we align that with your pay cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, some people don't even think about it. They go, oh, well, just put whatever. And it's like, no, because if you miss your payments, again, it's not a good look on your credit score. You got to stay as good of a client as you can, because you never know in the future whether you need a top up to buy a car, whether you need to get that solar panel that we've discussed about, the 1%.
The green loans.
The green loans. If you guys haven't listened about that one, go back a few episodes before that. We talked about the green loans. So the bank will look at your repayment history and see how good you were. And so that's where we try to align it with your pay cycle. But our preferred pay is weekly. If bank can do weekly, we recommend to do it weekly, because that way
you pay your home loan off faster.
Yay, that's one of the tips. Not a rocket science, because interest gets calculated daily and paid out on the cycle that you're in. So the sooner you can pay down the principal, the less interest you will be paying over time. So the other thing we cover off usually with clients is insurance.
Yes.
So I'm also qualified to provide insurance advice, and often it becomes a really nice triangle of advice there, because we can do a home loan, we can do your house insurance and contents insurance, car insurance, and we can also protect your life.
Yeah.
So that's life insurance and mortgage protection, because as Kunchi mentioned, it is a huge liability that people take on.
Yeah.
Huge asset, huge liability. Yeah. And especially if it's a family, if it's mom and dad and they've got a couple of kiddies, we don't want anything, bad to happen to them, obviously.
No.
But if it does happen, because let's face it, we live in New Zealand, I think we all know someone that got cancer or got something bad happen to them.
Yeah.
And they have to be off work for a period of time. How are they going to pay the loans?
Yeah. It's also a peace of mind, right? Like, you've got something there, some protection in place. Something did happen, you know that your family will be okay.
Because I think relying on give a little pages is just not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm really strong about that. Anyone that I talk to, they know how strong I am about give a little does not provide peace of mind to your family.
No.
Raising $20,000, great, maybe for the first few months.
Yes.
But it's not going to dig you out of a hole.
Correct.
If you've got a $500K mortgage.
Yep. Yeah.
If your wife wants to grieve, if something happened to you and she wants to grieve, because look, that's what happened to me, right? That's why I'm really passionate about me and about people, because in my personal life experience, my dad passed away when he was 44 of a heart attack. And my mom was 37. She was left a widow.
Our age, I can't even imagine.
Exactly. And I'm my mom's age.
Yeah.
When my dad passed away and my mum was left with 3 kids to look after.
Yeah.
And we had no government support back home. We had no insurances. We had a house. My mum had to work. She had to go back to work straight away. She couldn't afford to actually grieve the death of my father.
Yeah.
And for me, when I sit here and I've got ability to help people, and if I'm not using that ability,
right? Yeah.
It annoys me.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, we can do something about it. It's in our hands. So that's why I'm so passionate about insurances, because I've lived through that. I've seen what happens to families that had insurance and those that didn't have insurance. My mom had to work 3 jobs.
Wow.
So that's why I'm like, right, anyone that gets a home loan, you got to have insurance as well. But even people that don't have a home loan, they have to have insurance as well. And I usually say to our young clients, get it when you're young and healthy.
Correct. Yep.
And if you're not smoking, it's even better because it's cheaper.
I know, right? You'll be surprised. Like, you get $1 million cover and it's the same as, a couple of cups of coffee a week.
Exactly.
Like, you wouldn't hesitate to buy a couple of beers over the bar, and you're hesitating to protect your income or protect your family from something bad happening.
Yeah. So I think this insurance episode deserves its own episode.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we all understand the risk, but people just, it's amazing. Like, they will get a home loan, but they'll hesitate about insurances.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an expense. They see it as an expense, not as an investment into the future.
Yeah.
Because, you just never know what's around the corner, right? And just this year alone, we had so many cases that we've come across. And for those that are listening, you probably seen it on the media as well, people dying young people dying.
Unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly.
Accidentally. And then, the wife is left with the mortgage.
Yeah. And ACC does not pay. Guys, like, don't be...
fooled.
Don't be fooled. Don't be in the mindset of that ACC will be paying and for the rest of their life. No, they will pay a lump sum, but it's not much at all. So you can see how passionate I get about this topic. You can see how fired
I think we're like, settlement.
We've deviated. So back to the recap. Before settlement, once you go unconditional, we talk about the structure of your loan. We talk about what sort of insurances you need to have in place before settlement day.
Yep.
And one of the other things that people often ask me about is at what stage do they transfer the rest of the deposit? So let's say if you had some cash on hand as well and the bank is giving you the rest, that cash has to be transferred to your lawyer because on the settlement day, they will take all the money.
All the funds from...
One pot,
one spot,
and transfer to another pot.
Yes,
and another spot.
Yeah,
they'll transfer it across to the vendor solicitor, and that's when the vendor solicitor will say, "We've received the money. It's all good. Give them the keys." And that's where the agent will get the keys and pass on the keys and probably a basket of goods. I don't know, some wine.
Get your keys. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. So, and also what we say between unconditional and settlement, start packing, start arranging your utilities, think ahead. One of the recent cases we've had, which was really interesting before settlement, clients didn't realize the property was run on gas and they needed to order gas bottles.
Oh, bottles. On the bottles.
Yeah, the gas bottles. And what happened was on settlement day, they arrived at the property and they realized there's no gas, there's no hot showers to be taken. After moving all day, they're all sweaty, they want a hot shower, and they can't do that because they haven't realized they needed to arrange. So that's something for people to think ahead because the gas bottles get taken away. So if the vendor cancels their contract, the company actually comes and takes away the gas bottles. And you're left with no hot water if your hot water runs off gas. So
damn, okay.
Yeah.
Get your utilities sorted, people.
And same as the internet. Like we've got a lot of people that we deal with that are self-employed, for instance. And I just remember myself when I was moving and I had no internet for a day or two, it affects your business functioning, right? So if you are reliant on the internet, especially if you've got, kids that you need to entertain for at least half an hour while you're putting away those dishes, make sure again, your internet is sorted, your power is sorted. So things like this before the settlement. So you can contact all those companies and arrange the future
because you
date.
already know your settlement date. You already know that future date, the day you're going to move. So set it all up for that settlement date.
And the other tip I usually share with my clients is if they're renting, have your rent extended for another week. So then you've got a whole week to move your stuff. So you're not doing it all in one day like a crazy person, especially if you're moving in the same town. Like if you're moving in the same town, you could allow that week of moving back and forth. Obviously, if you're moving islands or from, different cities, then it's a different thing because then you may arrange a truck.
A mover or something.
Yeah, a moving truck. So just think about all those things ahead of time before settlement. Because it's so easy to be swept away in all sorts of different...
Yeah, those are some really good tips because I myself didn't even think about, utilities and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, settlement, yay. But
exactly.
Your utilities sorted as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because on the day, you'll get the keys, you'll walk in, you'll probably... the day before, actually, you will have probably another pre-inspection, the final inspection. And this is for you to double check, whether the toilets are flushing, whether the water...
whether the oven's clean or not.
Things like this. Because if there's anything that's not up to the standard of yours, you can actually approach the lawyer and you can ask them to withhold some funds. For instance, we had an instance when we were buying a house. We were going to move in and the vendor left a whole garage of stuff. They just left all of it behind and they said, oh, it's rubbish. We don't care about it. So we managed to keep, a couple of hundreds back. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago. So back then it was like $500 for a tip, So then we could arrange a tip to come in and get rid of all of this. So things like this that you can actually voice. And also the cleaning standards, if it's not up to your cleaning standard, again, you can voice that with the agent, raise it with your lawyer, etc. So that's pre-settlement inspection. And then on the settlement, you get the keys, you pop the bubbles, hopefully, You have lots of fun moving. Arrange your friends as well ahead of settlement.
Have a moving party. They can all come and help.
Yeah, exactly. We've done that so many times. I think I've moved like 10 times in the last 12 years. So we have a lot of friends, and a lot of drinking was involved to help us moving. And we even moved from one city to another as well, using our own moving trucks. So again, get in touch with the moving companies. If you want to save money, you can actually hire the trucks yourself. And my tip would be to look for the trucks that have a lift. So the lift goes up and down for the furniture, so you don't have to like strain your back to put furniture.
So many tips.
So many tips. You can tell I've moved many times. Conch, what's your tip? Share something. Come on.
Get moving boxes ready. Actually, like a lot of people.
Banana boxes.
No, the what is it called? The My Food Bag boxes. HelloFresh boxes. They're perfect, actually. Yeah.
Again,
put it on the social media, your community page, who's got boxes, and you'll be surprised.
And bubble wrap. Don't buy it. It costs a lot of money. A lot of people actually want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Put it on the community page. Who's got boxes? There you go.
We're all about saving money here.
Yeah, and the environment.
And the environment. So yeah, recycle, reuse. Have garage sales as well, if you can. Raise some money. Don't move stuff you don't need in a new house.
Yeah.
Have some garage sales. Get rid of stuff.
Yep.
So we always had 3 boxes going every time we moved, was to keep, to donate, to sell. 4. And then to throw away. Yeah. So there were 4 boxes. And that helped tremendously.
Yeah.
So between unconditional and settlement, this is our top tips.
Yeah, I think we even moved into moving in. Settlement and then moved in. So yay, congratulations.
Congratulations, you bought a house and you're moving in.
Officially a homeowner.
In the next episode, we will cover off what happens after the settlement. And we'll talk more about that. Stay tuned.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
And that's a wrap on That Home Loan Hub. Don't forget to hit subscribe and join me next time for more property tips and tricks. Your next smart move starts here.